You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Wow.
What's up?
I just bought and financed a car through Carvana in minutes.
You? The person who agonized 4 weeks over whether to paint your walls eggshell or off-white bought and financed a car in minutes?
They made it easy. Transparent terms, customizable down and monthly. Didn't even have to do any paperwork.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Hey, have you checked out that spreadsheet I sent you for our dinner options?
Finance your car with Carvana and experience total control. Financing subject to credit approval.
Hey there, travelers and dreamers. We all have that dream trip that we've been wishing we could go on. But too often, life just gets in the way, whether it's work, family responsibilities, or, in my case, and I'm sure many of yours, price. But your dream trip doesn't have to stay a dream any longer, because Priceline is here to help you book it with millions of deals on hotels, flights, cruises, and rental cars. That bucket list destination? Yeah, it's a lot closer than you think. You know, I've been wanting to go see the Pittsburgh Pirates for a long time at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. That's like at the top of my list of bucket list destinations of baseball parks around the country. And because I now know about the type of deals that Priceline offers, I may pull the trigger this summer and go see those Pirates. Priceline makes it easy and stress-free to book a flight and a hotel so I can go see my team play live. With millions of travel deals like up to 60% off hotels, I know I'll be able to find great options even when I need to book last minute. So don't just dream about that next trip, book it with Priceline. Download the Priceline app or visit Priceline.com to go to your happy price. Actual prices may vary. Limited time offer. Terms apply.
Welcome to the Big Suey, presented by DraftKings,
Why are you listening to this show?
the podcast that seems very similar to the other Dan Le Batard podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for that.
In fact, the only difference seems to be this imaging.
I have been tempted in restaurants just walking past tables to grab somebody's fries that if they're just there. That hasn't happened to you guys?
I've done it.
And now, here's the marching man to nowhere, Fat Face, and the habitual liar.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Can you guys put up that graphic, please, for March Sadness? Because I have done a very poor job of, and Billy's drowning. Billy's drowning. God bless football. March Sadness. The work never ends. And he's been into. Are you in charge of this tournament? Because I feel
Absolutely not. I mean, yes, but no. If that makes sense.
It doesn't.
I mean, I'm not. I came up with the idea. Now it's become, so what are we doing? And I'm like, I don't know. I just offered the idea. But then it's more like, well, are you going to do that? I'm like, I just gave you an idea. You didn't have an idea. So I go to levitardaf.com and you can submit your video. We're going to pick 64 to go up against each other.
Wow.
And then fans will be voting against each other. And you'll get a prompt every round that you'll do it. And then fans voting will determine who will watch a game with a Dan Le Batard.
If I may,
Yeah.
I think you guys have done a spectacular job promoting this. It was yesterday where we learned about this, and you've just explained it pretty clear as day.
Yeah.
Here to start another segment. So you guys are doing a great job.
Yeah.
A hot streak for Dan Le Batard continues.
Keep those videos coming, because as I told you yesterday, the way that I've learned that things work is maybe the first 64. So you want to get on that first 64 just to make sure you have a shot. Because if you're, submission 218, but we have 64 that we like, I don't know that number 219 is going to come in and bump someone out. So get in. Also, here's something that I didn't expect to happen, friends. I had someone reach out to me on Cameo yesterday, and the request was, can you record my video for March Sadness? So, like a Larry or a Tom or whatever reached out to me and said,
that's creative.
They want me, Billy, to speak on their behalf why they should get into March Sadness. So, I mean, I don't think that...
Wait, did you do it?
I haven't done it yet, and I find myself, Greg, I think in a similar situation as Dan in terms of I may be compromised here.
Yeah.
I think the situation here, though, is different, though, because if I do this video where I am going to be someone's submission on their behalf, it is fan voting, so fans can decide who moves on from round to round. You know what I mean? So, I'm not actually compromised here. I'm just doing a fan a solid in exchange for compensation.
Yeah, of course.
But, that's just, them's the breaks.
Are these entries going to be seeded? Like, I feel like you would be a number 1 seed.
No, well, I'm not a fan. No, the fans are the ones that go and do it, and then we will get 64 best, and then we will seed them, and then they'll go up against each other bracket style.
I am so clear on what this contest is.
Yeah, you get the prompt.
What's the time limit on the video?
30 seconds. That's what it said on the graphic.
30 seconds?
Yeah.
You can't even do anything in 30
or
seconds.
less.
Oh, yes, you can.
I'm still clearing my throat after 30 seconds.
Well, I don't doubt that.
I want a brutalist length video. I'm going to submit a 4-hour video.
Is Greg allowed to make a submission?
Yeah, anyone can make a submission. Yeah.
All right, I'm on it.
One of our submissions will just be Adrian Brody's acceptance speech at the Oscars.
Not how it works. No, that will
was
not
terrible.
That's not. No.
So obnoxious.
Not the contest.
3
at
minutes
all.
in, he goes. The music starts playing, and he's like, "Turn that off, guys. I'll be quick. I'm wrapping up." And then he goes on for another 2.5 minutes.
Awful.
And part of his speech is he invoked, this is special because my career kind of died after I won the previous one. Why was that, Adrian? Did you wear out your welcome at all? Maybe read the room. This is like when Ben Affleck came all the way back after Argo and decided, hey, superhero movies. That's my move.
Like, if I'm considering him for a role, I see that speech, nope, someone else.
I actually went back and watched Cillian Murphy's speech from last year when he won for Oppenheimer. What a good speech. He was in, he was out. He gave like a very poignant message at the end, like, this is for all, we live in Oppenheimer's world. This is for all the peacekeepers. And then he left. And I stood up in my room and I clapped again because that guy gets it.
And no one thought about him as he had to stand there for 6 minutes.
Must have been bored to tears.
Watching Adrian Brody do whatever the hell that was.
McConaughey's speech a few years ago, that was good.
That was great. It was fantastic. Adrian Brody should never work in this town again.
Seriously.
Okay, put it on the poll.
Miami?
At Lebitard Show. Should Adrian Brody ever work in this town again? At Lebitard Show. Jessica, I'm a little annoyed. Mike has come on. He's been just hot the last couple of days.
Days?
Well, yeah. He's
Thank you.
He is looking good.
Thank you. Put in the work.
What prompted the shave?
The shave?
Yeah.
I wanted to see what my face looked like now that I'm thinner. Not a fan of it.
Roboito.
It's cold in here, huh?
He's
That's the nipple stickers. No matter how much weight I lose, those are always going to be there.
Oh, for the love of God.
Oh my God, he just showed his tummy on camera.
Yeah.
This is a moment.
Wow.
I don't know what kind of moment.
Mike
but-
is feeling good about himself, but he's also revving very high. And so he has twice hit us now. One was before the show, where he's just coming in hot and he's just hitting everyone with a cleaver of read the room. That phrase, read the room. And so I look up and there's just yelling involved. And I look up and it's just read the room. And it's an argument is broken out about James Bond, about the idea of Michael Strahan as James Bond. And Mike Ryan screaming at everyone in the room that Michael Strahan needs to read the room. Nobody likes the guy that tells everybody else to read the room.
I like the confidence, but now's not the time for Michael Strahan to be doing this. An American to just bully his way. Hey, no, I think I can play the UK's most iconic role. No, you can't.
Yeah, but anybody can do a British accent.
No.
That would slap.
I bet you Michael Strahan can't.
Oh, come on.
I would venture to say his is probably bad. His is probably bad. And this is distinctly American.
Can we hear Michael Caine's over here? Can we hear Greg Cody has said he could be he could see with some training, he could be a movie star.
Well,
do you want to give us
a working actor? I don't think I ever said star.
Right, you said you could feature movies. You
said anyone could do a British accent. Yeah. So let's hear yours.
You want to hear?
Go for it.
Can you do one?
This is your Bond audition.
I need a script.
Yeah.
We can make that happen.
All right, we'll get it for you.
All right.
We'll get it for you in a moment.
The amount of confidence I'm down with from Michael Strahan, I actually can understand how Michael Strahan can climb to the heights of professional football, conquer morning television, and then be the face of GMA, and then decide, yeah, I could be James Bond. It actually makes perfect sense why Michael Strahan would believe he could be James Bond, kind of like the way that Stephen A. Smith firmly believes he could be president. I get how your confidence gets to that place. That's not my issue. If you think you can be James Bond, we can disagree about that, but I'm down with your level of confidence. It's just not right now. America's name has been tainted throughout all of Europe. We cannot have Michael Strahan just barging in and volunteering that he could be James Bond right now, given our global standing. It's just too much. Now's not the time.
Read the room.
I do think any British person can do an American accent, but most Americans can't do a British accent.
Oh, yeah? Have you watched Dante's Peak?
No.
Well, I don't know what Pierce Brosnan was doing.
Okay, I believe lately around here we've done a lot of disrespecting of a lot of forever franchises, and so we've been making a lot of 007 jokes, but what was happening before the show between Mike and Carl was not a joke. Carl, and I'm not hearing a dissenting opinion around here, and I was busy, so I didn't catch. I was busy with all of Greg Cody's mocking of me, giving away my integrity as a journalist, that I didn't catch what the argument was about. However, I believe it's passionate as I've heard Carl be about anything around here. And so I'd like to hear from the group here that doesn't respect 007 in defense of the franchise, because I believe that Mike Ryan, when he's arguing on behalf of James Bond, or anyone's arguing on behalf of a black James Bond, Mike Ryan saying, "Not now, read the room."
No. It has nothing to do with a black James Bond. Don't you put that on me, Dan. That is not what I'm doing.
Look, there was
I am anti-Michael Strahan being James Bond because the timing's not right. Idris, go for it. I think you'd be great. The dissenting opinion that I heard from Carl, who is black, said that I just don't see Michael Strahan sitting in a bar undercover in Siberia. And I had never thought about it that way. Yeah, it's probably not the most undercover approach. Michael Strahan would stick out in Siberia. Excellent point.
I'm just saying
I'm sorry. The way you just threw so many people under the train tracks so quickly.
All I'm telling you, I'm only catching pieces and shrapnel of an argument because I was involved in my own thing, which is trying to avoid Greg Cody making fun of me mercilessly for selling my soul and journalism to run this company. I just heard Carl arguing with you, and I heard you arguing with him, and I heard Michael Strahan, and I heard Black 007, and it was just a lot of words. I wasn't processing any of what was being said.
Well, you could ask before we just go on air and call people racist.
I didn't. No. Did I just call?
Why didn't you read the room at all? You're just taking the variables and not any of the actual
I just felt the heat
context.
of it on my neck. I wasn't reading the room at all. I was just
classic shit stirring. It really is. That's how we always.
That really
for
was
this.
incredible.
You will not turn me against anybody but Michael Strahan.
I wasn't trying to. Carl was arguing with you. Was he not? Carl, were you not arguing with him?
No, we actually had two completely separate points to make there.
Yeah, I was very much pro Black 007, where Carl came in and he's like, absolutely not.
Cannot, even if it's British.
Wow.
Idris Elba, don't care.
Okay, so hold on now, Dan. Is Carl racist?
I just wanted to talk to Carl
Carl
about
doesn't
this.
want a Black 007, Dan. You put yourself in quite the spot.
Yeah, Mark, I appreciate you doing that to me. Carl, thank you for all your good work. I appreciate
But he's got great ideas as to why. He's not just a racist. He's thought this racism through.
I'm Bond. James Bond. I'll have a martini. Shaken, not stirred.
You're just doing Ringo Starr.
There are a number of different English accents.
Ringo Starr also can't be James Bond.
UK
I heard a little bit of Austin Powers, too.
It really isn't a big country, though.
Do I make you horny, baby? Bond. James Bond.
It kind of sounded a little like Eric Reed at the end, too.
Groovy, baby.
Okay, so we've decided that you and Michael Strahan can't be James Bond.
Well, we need an old James Bond.
Haven't they all been kind of old? Like, Daniel Craig's not some spring chicken.
Yeah, they're all middle-aged.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to
What
be.
about like a Ray Fiennes?
Ralph. He's in his
Old
60s.
James Bond.
Isn't Ralph 60?
Yeah, I think so.
He did, like, I saw, he said that he wanted to get his body in the shape of a rope for that movie, The Return. Have you seen, like, he did, like, Homer's Odyssey. He did a movie like that this year that came out to not as much fanfare as Conclave did. He got in incredible shape for that. His body does look like a rope. However, he's
hot.
60. Oh, he's very attractive.
Oh, but it would stand to reason, right? If we're going to give movie star franchises, action franchises to 50 and 60-year-old actors the way that we would, that Strahan would, of course, think he could just be 007. Like, hey, I'm a 50-year-old and I'm a lot fitter than these other guys. I've kept myself in shape, and why wouldn't it seem to confident people competing for money and entertainment that they could all be James Bond in their 50s because all the action stars are 50.
I think Strahan was talking to the CEO of Amazon and was like, I'll do it. I'm here. And then it got aggregated. And now it's become a very hot debate in which you called Mike Ryan a racist.
Yeah.
When Carl was the racist the entire time.
I misheard it. I'm sorry. I will apologize publicly to both you and Carl. I caught pieces of the argument. It just I wasn't listening closely. And I'm sorry that I am publicly sorry that happened that way. I did not intend for I misunderstood
I don't believe you. I think it's not. I think you're lying right now, and I think you're just trying to stir shit constantly. I understand, like I said, the confidence in why Michael Strahan thinks he can be James Bond, but can we like start? It's like Stephen A. wanting to be president and coming out and saying like he doesn't, he may have to be.
The people want him to
but
be.
He's got but he's also been quoted as saying he's got no interest in doing anything but that if he goes into politics. Like, would it kill you to start as comptroller?
That's crazy.
Like, get some level of experience. I know it's like super vogue to not be a politician, and we've seen two elections won by novice politicians, 45 and 47.
Well, where you guys make fun of me on this stuff and where it is that there are sales in journalism, I will say that I have really just had my breath taken away by what a marvel Stephen A. Smith is in terms of being able to climb to the heights of power in a country where the power is given away to people like Trump and Musk, and we keep giving all of the power away, and fame and attention are the things you need to have. He has masterfully played his career so that he has a ton of options, and it is somehow unsurprising that his betting odds for Democratic presidential nominee are higher than Michelle Obama's or Kamala Harris's. Like, he's cut the line because it's fame and celebrity just on betting odds.
Yeah, I mean, that's no way to judge it.
Okay, but just for the moment, it's look, man, you say that's no way to judge it, but I just saw a reality star. Like, I'm in the middle of an apocalypse, we all are, where you're like, wait a minute, okay, so we're this clearly in bed with Russia? Where we're no longer the face of democracy this overtly? Because when Greg comes on and says, duh, Donald Trump is in bed with Russian oligarchs. They're trying to create the same thing here. They're trying to make Russia here. And now, and they're just land barons. Like, we'll make Gaza. We'll make it a strip mall. Like,
yeah, buy Greenland.
No, but I'm serious. Like, what's happening with the power? We've given it away to idiots. Like, we've given it away to fools. These people who are leading us to war. Like, what are we doing with Russia and Ukraine? Like, this is simple. Anyone in America would look at this and just say, what are we doing? No? Like, there's another.
No, it does make like all this sort of like Cold War feel. Like the Miracle on Ice doesn't really hit the same now than it used to.
James
right?
Bond is like less relevant.
I just finished watching the show The Americans, and I'm like, I feel like the Russian spies would get cabinet positions now.
They killed one of the best Rocky villains ever. Now Apollo's the bad guy?
It's very bleak.
We're going to make the United States Russia. That's what we're going to do. Just all white people. Just like make it all white people. Run everyone. Right. Run all the other bloodlines out.
Well, no, because Michael Strahan's going to be James Bond.
Yeah. Not if Carl has anything to do with it.
Yeah, sure thing.
Hey, you sold that car yet?
Yeah, sold it to Carvana.
Oh, I thought you were selling to that guy.
The guy who wanted to pay me in foreign currency, no interest, over 36 months? Yeah, no. Carvana gave me an offer in minutes, picked it up, and paid me on the spot. It was so convenient.
Just like that.
Yeah?
No hassle.
None.
That is super convenient.
Sell your car to Carvana and swap hassle for convenience. Pickup fees may apply.
Hey there, travelers and dreamers. We all have that dream trip that we've been wishing we could go on. But too often, life just gets in the way, whether it's work, family responsibilities, or, in my case, and I'm sure many of yours, price. But your dream trip doesn't have to stay a dream any longer, because Priceline is here to help you book it. with millions of deals on hotels, flights, cruises, and rental cars. That bucket list destination? Yeah, it's a lot closer than you think. You know, I've been wanting to go see the Pittsburgh Pirates for a long time at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. That's like at the top of my list of bucket list destinations of baseball parks around the country. And because I now know about the type of deals that Priceline offers, I may pull the trigger this summer and go see those Pirates. Priceline makes it easy and stress-free to book a flight and a hotel so I can go see my team play live. With millions of travel deals like up to 60% off hotels, I know I'll be able to find great options even when I need to book last minute. So don't just dream about that next trip, book it with Priceline. Download the Priceline app or visit Priceline.com to go to your happy price. Actual prices may vary. Limited time offer. Terms apply.
If you're a small business owner, you know how difficult it can be hiring the right people. And it can be a real grind. It takes the right partner to make sure you're getting the most qualified candidates. Well, got the right partner for you. LinkedIn Jobs. When you clock out, LinkedIn clocks in. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free. Share it with your network and get qualified candidates that you can manage all in one place. Meadowlark Media continues to grow as a content studio, and we strive to hire only the best and most qualified candidates. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, they've made it easy for us to find them. So, if you're a small business owner looking for the perfect hire, LinkedIn has you covered. With LinkedIn's new job posting feature, you can write job descriptions effortlessly and get your job in front of the right people using deep candidate insights. Quality matters. Based on LinkedIn data, 72% of small businesses using LinkedIn say it helps them find top talent. Join over 2.5 million small businesses using LinkedIn for hiring today. Find your next great hire only on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/DLS. That's linkedin.com/DLS to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Don Batard.
You are a fool.
You're nobody.
You are an infant.
You
have no thick skin.
To me.
I literally put together
Mike
a
Ryan
freaking stage for your toenail.
Nobody.
I am your career right now, pal.
No.
Look at me.
No.
I am your career.
No.
Stugotz.
You have messed with McDavid, and now you're messing with me, and I'm more dangerous, pal.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Jimmy Johnson, I meant to get to this in the local hour with Greg Cody because I do want, every once in a while, to give trilogies on people while they're still alive, what they meant to me. And I've talked to Jimmy the last couple of days, and he wants to be left alone for a while because he's not going to do what he's been doing for a while. This is the end of his career, and he knows, as Bobby Bowden said, that when you retire from this stuff, there's only one more ceremony where people gather at this age. He saw Wayne Huizenga, who built Fort Lauderdale, who brought the Panthers here. He saw him at the end lose his faculties. And Wayne Huizenga, owner of the Dolphins, is people who built things down here. Gave Jimmy Johnson, like he gave Nick Saban, a wide berth to coach the most prestigious thing that there was in this town. And Jimmy Johnson didn't want to do it so much after his mother died, and he kind of wanted to get to the rest of his life and be with his kids. He's proud of one son who's fought really hard through addiction, and he's developed real family ties. And this is the end of Jimmy's career, and I understand that he's an immortal and he's mortal, but when you retire after 31 years at Fox and you're part of building that network, you're part of, Fox became the power that it has, at least in part because it was a serious network that had to be dealt with because Jimmy Johnson was broadcasting football games on Fox. That career, I mean, I don't know if I could say the second part of his career is more impressive than the first, but I would say it from this respect. He developed real friends and family in Jay Glazer and Terry Bradshaw. There is nothing like that on television except inside the NBA, where you see friends grow old together and you see that they love each other on television. And they welcome in Strahan and it fits. And they can welcome in anybody and it would fit, because that's a group of people who have learned to be professionally adult in front of us for 30 years. Jimmy Johnson is now retired. He is done with all of this. You, as someone who has covered him in this market and knows what he means to this market, would place him where in the pantheon of epic sports figures we've ever had here?
I think he'd be on the Mount Rushmore. I think he'd be in the top four. Shula, Dwayne Wade, Pat Riley, and Jimmy Johnson. I'd be satisfied with those 4.
Marino would like a word.
Well, the number 5 is always going to like a word when it comes to Mount Rushmore. But Jimmy Johnson, I think he's one of 4 or 5 coaches who have won both a Super Bowl and a college.
This is crazy what you're saying.
We can't let you put Jimmy Johnson
ahead of Dan Marino.
Dan the Man.
Jimmy Johnson invented swagger and solidified what became the glory days at the University of Miami. Okay,
but he didn't even win the first championship. Howard Schnellenberger did.
Howard Schnellenberger did, and
so didn't he invent swag?
No, those teams. Schnellenberger's
put his rings in a box.
Schnellenberger's Hurricanes were classic underdogs. Jimmy Johnson's Hurricanes were braggadocio defined. He wanted his team to be cocky. Jimmy Johnson invented swagger at the University of Miami.
You mentioned that again.
But they didn't win, though.
In 3 consecutive seasons, he won a championship. He finished second, and he finished second. And he never got over losing to Penn State 14-10 in a championship game with his best team ever. He had a whole roster of guys who were going to be playing on Sunday the following year. And then with the Dolphins, he makes 3 playoffs in a row, and he drafts 2 Hall of Fame players. He drafts the 2 best cornerbacks they've ever had. He leaves Dave Wannstedt with a roster that finally won a playoff game just after he left. I think Jimmy Johnson's been great, and his broadcasting career may be even better. And I can't say that about any of the other coaches who won.
Well, but the part I'm saying is better, right, is that when Jimmy Johnson was a professional football coach, he speaks of that time now with a retching sound at the man that it made him, because the friendships felt real, and I'm sure they are with Norv Turner and whatnot. But the fire of all that, the intensity of all that, the job he had to do as a boss to overlord a guy like Tony Wise, who would be a lifetime disciple, because Jimmy Johnson had these people he was running through a furnace because he was taking them to the top of football. Those friendships can get burned up or become stronger. I'm sure they went both ways. Wannstedt, you always see these guys golfing. Whatever they went through together was a beautiful, hard thing, but he retches at the thought of it because he wasn't as close to those men as these who make him cry all the time now, because he can get emotional easily now, because he loves Jay Glazer, because because he loves Terry Bradshaw most of all.
Yeah, best friends.
But best friends who became best friends in adulthood. Think of how many of those you have. Best friends who became best friends after 50, because it's a different thing, right? You choose your friends early, you work through things with them, you go through work with them. Jimmy Johnson and Terry Bradshaw became best friends on television. And they became best friends in a way that I'm guessing Jimmy Johnson has more access to what real depression looks like and what it is to care about someone who can sink into real depression and needs the help of someone who loves him. My guess, I haven't talked to Jimmy about this, but if I had to guess what their relationship is, I would guess that Terry Bradshaw has allowed Jimmy Johnson to come out a little more vulnerably late in life and talk about things that Jimmy probably wasn't analyzing very much when he was, working too hard. Getting up to 50 years old. But I ask you as an expert on this town, they disagree with you here. Like the shipping container, I feel like, disagrees strongly with your Mount Rushmore. And I would like you to defend your take, because I don't think it's as absurd as they think it is. Although Marino, you're talking about some symbolic things, and Marino...
Marino has to be like...
But he built a children's hospital.
Can we make this a Mount Gregmore, which we do on the Greg Cody Show, which is a top 5?
Then I would have Marino.
There we go.
Okay,
Mount Gregmore.
We were
settled.
also maybe like we do a player Mount Rushmore and like a coach executive Mount Rushmore, because like then you can put Spoelstra on the coach one. I feel like he should be on something, right?
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
Yeah. It can't be 4 coaches.
No. Well, on the coach Mount Rushmore can be, or Mount Gregmore.
You could really like nail down the player Mount Rushmore to just 2 names.
Really?
Wade and Marino?
Wade and Marino. Oof. That's a tier to itself.
Bubble Jimmy, though.
I would agree with that.
What about Kachuk?
Barkov would be...
Kachuk's got to win a little bit more.
Barkov would be the Panther.
And I guess Barkov, well, we'll see. That story's yet unread.
Who would be the Marlin? Miguel Cabrera?
Nobody.
No Marlin.
Nobody.
Wow.
No Marlin. No Marlin
No.
even made it to my OLI on coaches. You could make an argument for Jack McKeon, left him out of my OLI.
Wow.
When Paul Maurice, Ron Frazier, and Howard Schnellenberger OLI on my coach Mount Rushmore.
Wow, Ron Frazier. How about that? R.I.P.
Culture builder.
Yeah.
My Mount Rushmore for coaches is Jimmy Johnson,
Well, Jimmy's then making it only because of his time at the University of Miami. Then
I mean, he does get some points for the Dolphins,
but Cowboys can't be in play here.
But Miami was very proud of that Cowboys team because he also had Michael Irvin on it, so it kind of felt like a Miami team.
Yeah, but then you have someone like Miguel Cabrera who did his best elsewhere while being part of the Marlins.
Hit off the rocket.
But he did his best work down here in this market, I think, with that Miami run. Number 3 is Eric Spoelstra. Often forgotten because he's always compared to Riley, more successful head coach in terms of championships than Pat Riley was.
Best timeout caller in sports history.
Kind of ruined that a little bit. Pat Riley's number 2, and then Shula number 1, and that one's pretty easy. But I think we can all agree, Marino and Wade, that's a tier to itself.
Yeah, agreed.
You could make like a social and global impact metric for Messi, but he hasn't been here long enough yet.
Right.
You throw him in there though; it just looks good.
Hasn't won anything either.
Only one ring for Riley down here, though, as a coach, if we're going to be honest, and he kind of shoved Stan Van Gundy out of the way to get that one. So, I mean, do you put someone on Mount Rushmore for half a season of coaching?
What about Stugotz? He's a coach.
That is true.
LAX.
Who would be 3 and 4 on the player Mount Rushmore? We've established
Morning.
No, I wouldn't put Morning over LeBron.
No.
Well, but the thing with LeBron, though, we got 4 years of his prime, and he won 2 championships. But 4 years is not a lot to be in this market to be considered.
But he was the best player in the world.
Well, you want people
when he
that
was
were here longer that were worse?
Yeah.
I want people who were longer and also had an impact and won something.
I was actually legitimately doing like sort of community stuff too, though. I'm talking about impact in a market.
Nah.
Don't forget, he left this community.
That is true.
I still haven't forgiven him.
What are we doing with Larry Zonka?
Zonk would be up there for me.
Is he on the Rushmore?
Zonk can't be up there.
He might be if the Rushmore of players.
He can't
be.
Well, I'm trying to decide who round out the Rushmore of
It'd be
local
weird
players.
if he was on the coaches one.
Zonka is why the Dolphins won back-to-back Super Bowls. It wasn't Bob Greasy throwing.
He's a
10
Super Bowl
passes.
MVP.
Barkov might be there.
Barkov, he's had longevity, decade plus.
Barkov might be there.
How can you say that Barkov can be there but not LeBron James?
Because LeBron James was here 4 years. Barkov's here 10 years. Big difference.
Yeah.
People watch LeBron.
Okay. Put Lionel
What are you
Messi there.
doing?
He's been here 2
I'm just
years.
trying to sort out
Shut
this
up,
Mount Rushmore
man.
that has 50 people on it now.
You could make a Mount Rushmore of players the Marlins traded.
Ooh, I mean,
that's the
you
truth.
could not. You'd have to limit it to 4.
Well,
Here's the thing in the middle of that went, I think, largely unnoticed, just like a stray rocket of enthusiasm. Chris Cody saying of Cabrera, "Oh my God, that home run!"
That was a moment.
Off the rocket.
We're just doing moments. That's on the Mount Rushmore of moments.
Of moments.
in South
All right, we'll do moments.
Wait, hold on. Is Messi on the Mount Rushmore of
No,
Miami
not a
athletes?
moment.
No, I think we closed it out with Manu.
Really?
Yeah.
Marino, Wade, Barkov, Manu.
Older than Joey.
What's Wade's moment?
You kidding me? Just go outside.
This is my house.
Yeah, that's.
I think Messi's moment was when the paparazzi caught him at Publix.
The 06 finals. To answer your
That's
question,
what I'm saying.
That was a
That's
moment.
more
is
than
Dwayne
that's,
Wade's
yeah,
moment.
exactly. That's not this.
Even
house.
though it was rigged.
Was the scene behind me my moment?
the sad. God,
No,
that would
you've
be
had
sad.
no, you've had
Your moment was the Speedo thing. I still don't know what that
yeah,
was.
that was another moment in which you surprised.
Also
All right.
addressing the wrong Wu-Tang member in Vegas.
But that wasn't
Chris.
here though,
That
so
was a
that
great
doesn't
moment.
count.
That was in
yeah,
Vegas.
that was in a
Tom-
Nevada moment.
By the way-
Much more positive Dan Lebitard moment.
By the way, Dan, everyone
Miami.
during the break was saying that you thinking that we could get into the speakeasy was another Four Seasons moment.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
How great is this? For me only.
Yeah, but Cynthia and Roy and
Well, they allowed your crew to come with you.
you are my crew.
Not if
No,
they.
they used the other two tickets.
Yeah, there was two tickets allotted for the
Guys,
remainder of the crew.
you are not going to turn this into you guys didn't have access to this.
No, I would have. I would have been fine. I'm a VIP,
See,
but everybody else, no. they
Your
would not have.
incredulity about this proves it was another Four Seasons moment.
Yeah, you trust me. They could if we went with like a crew of 17. There's no way they get in.
There
They're
was-
not.
there were
They're not
six-
letting Ethan in. Ethan.
There were 6 people in there.
Well, that's how you make things exclusive. You don't let people in. In a perfect night, a speakeasy has no one in it. That's the dream night for a speakeasy.
There were like 9 people there.
That's capacity.
Yeah, that's
no. I'm talking about of our people.
Yesterday.
I don't believe
There's
that.
no way.
Who are those people?
Sean McGill was in there.
Okay, all right.
Again, with your crew.
Rhonda's son.
Yeah, but you're my crew. I don't know what it is. You're
Roy,
my crew.
And
Roy, Cynthia.
Roy had a credential.
And Kristen. Okay, that's 4.
Should have had a suite.
And
Who are the other 5?
No, and then there were the tickets for Greg and Chris that they did not use.
Well, no, those
that's
were
how the
used
other 2
by
got in.
Kristen and Cynthia.
No, we
You said there-
sacrificed so others could get.
Yeah.
You said there were 9 people in the
Greg's
speakeasy,
selfless.
and I'm still waiting for the other 5.
and
one of them was Thordy.
and 2 of them were Panther PR people. Yeah, so those weren't our people.
Was Kachuk's dad in there?
Slow night.
Big Walt.
There weren't that many people in there.
DeChambeau?
Huh. Imagine that. By the way, speaking of that, I've been meaning to ask you the significance of the jersey number 25. Is that the percentage of your integrity left? Or is there another reason for it? I was just curious.
Now, the moments have to be in South Florida? Like the actual moment has to be in South Florida, Billy?
I think so, yeah.
All right, so billboards aren't on there, even though he did that for this market. He did that for us.
No, that's in the Northeast Ohio region.
I don't know if I can get 4. I definitely have 3.
There's not 4 moments in Miami.
Like 4 positive Dan Le Batard moments that he's like, this is our guy.
You guys are saying this was a positive moment. It's your
Yeah.
It has not felt this with my friend Greg Cody. There's very little about this with my friend Greg Cody that has been shared in positive. Would you not agree?
I think this is like what happened last night in terms of pro South Florida Dan Le Batard moments is a silver medalist.
I was surprised I was not booed. I was surprised by that.
Why?
Preaching to the choir, pal. 3rd place is the Jim Mandich Parade.
That was a cool one.
That was your bronze medalist. Silver was last night. And 1st place, the Speedo, where you surprised everybody.
Yeah.
Ooh, maybe the Battery. The Battery at the first taping down here.
That was good.
That's okay. That's a Rushmore.
Yep.
Do like on-air moments count? I think Greg scooping his
do.
engagement was.
That's
but
not a Dan
That's
moment.
a moment
That's a
for
Greg
Greg.
moment.
I would go
You're right.
rant over that, the original rant.
The rants were good.
Dan met that moment.
Wow, this has been a real nostalgia tour here
How about
today. Are you done with me on this subject? Are you gonna? Is the integrity joke is a good one that we're gonna make for the rest of our lives,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And you will always be able to point out because this is forever. The internet is forever. So I'm experiencing this very differently between you and them, okay? Because everyone's making fun of me, but they're doing it positively, and you are legitimately pretty close to ashamed of me.
I mean, I'm positive of your performance.
No, but
you
you're
were
pretty
a little quick with the beat.
You're pretty close to ashamed of me for doing it. Yes
I'm
or
surprised you did it. I don't think it serves you well.
Are you ashamed of me for doing it?
Ashamed is too strong a word.
How close to ashamed are you?
Pretty close. Not quite there.
Okay.
Not quite there. Had you worn the jersey on the show today, which you should have, it might have lapsed into shame.
But you should have done it.
Yeah, you should have worn the jersey.
Yeah.
In fact, at the next commercial break, go put on the jersey.
Yeah.
Just rip the Band-Aid, yeah.
Did you sign the drum, or did they say don't sign the drum, just sign the wall inside?
I was able to sign both the drum and the wall.
Whoa.
That's big status?
Did they ask?
I'm sure you recognize some of those SIGs.
Look at me. I was too busy enjoying myself.
Wow, they even put a little space between the le and the Batard. That's classy.
So when you're about to strike, are you reading that like, oh, man, Gretzky?
Guys, I will tell you again that I was scared. I don't understand. Like, none of this is comfortable to me, and I was being weighed down by the withering criticism of my friend here.
Sure.
My supporter who couldn't be bothered to show up, but criticized through rocks from afar. To make fun of me so that he can have this moment where he could be very close to ashamed of me. I didn't know if I was doing the right thing. It was something I didn't want to do, and I didn't want to do it, cloaking it in journalistic responsibility, but it's mostly because I was afraid of it, because I thought I was just going to screw it up. I thought I was going to do something wrong. I thought, how hard do I have to hit this? And is there the chance the stick will fly out of my hand? It is the thing I was most afraid of. They're like, hit it hard. No one's ever done more than 5. So I was going to get to 5. McDaniel got to 5. I wanted to go to 6. I did. I should have just.
You should have run through the stop sign, because I see there's always that guy with the thing like leading you. You should have run through the stop sign.
Yeah, but I did not. When I just saw Luongo do it, I was not as bold and confident as him. I feel inferior by leaps and bounds to Luongo.
But he's the standard.
Chris, what was your other nomination?
I do have another for
moment?
Dan moment. Does this one make the top Mount Rushmore, Mike? The first time we saw Dan put French fries on a salad.
Oh.
I'll put it as OLI.
That's a strong one. I'll never forget that.
Mike has a list back here. I'm kind of curious what's on
Right
it.
now, I'm building top Dan moments that happened abroad.
You didn't put in there Las Vegas Wu-Tang.
No, that doesn't make it. That was a bad moment.
Oh, this is good moments. I thought it was just moments in general.
You know, Carrot Top is 60.
Really?
Yeah.
He looks
seems
looks great.
like it.
Really?
From shoulders up, he looks all of 75. Shoulders down, different story.
Who are you talking about?
Carrot Top.
Oh, wow. He's 70?
Yeah.
No, 60.
Oh, 60.
All right, Greg, the show was moving too fast for Greg.
You're
there.
70.
Greg.
Shoulders up, he is.
So, Greg, just Carrot Top. They went quickly from Wu-Tang to Carrot Top, and this is the first time anyone has brought up Wu-Tang to my face, and it still hurts. Like I will tell you that I am exposed here. And that's you talk about.
He's splayed.
You talk about ashamed. No, a splayed, a shame, all of it. Oh my God, that's the first time any of you have mentioned it. I was hoping we would go the rest of our lives without anyone doing so.
I feel like a lot of your worst moments coincide with Greg's best moments because Greg was thriving.
He was great. He was so great.
He carried us on his back that day.
Wow.
Meanwhile,
Kind of you
Dan
to
was
say.
spiraling.
That's correct.
Similar to when he scooped your engagement. Thriving.
Proud moment. Best thing I've ever written.
What's your fourth best moment that happened
And
abroad?
accurate.
What is it?
Because I got the top three right now. Gramercy Theater, you sold it out in 90 seconds. You delivered a good show with the help of Greg. Thank you. Second place is the Billboards.
Oh, yeah.
The Billboards in Akron, Ohio, which Greg was also a part of, supplementing every step of the way, it would seem. He's right there,
Good
right next to
friends.
you. And number one is going to China with Michael Jordan.
Wow. That
Back in the journalism days.
was a moment. Would you do that interview if they said the only way you can talk to Michael is if you wear a Michael Jordan jersey?
I bet he would have. He's got the track record for it.
Didn't he almost die in a hot air balloon once?
Yes.
Was that a good moment?
Is that one of your top
That wasn't
moments, or is
content,
that
though.
bottom?
I don't know why. Yes, this is as close to death as I've probably ever been. Given that a hot air balloon on our honeymoon crashed into the African. A hole burned into it, and it crashed in a field that was dangerous.
So the last two trips that you've taken to Africa, you've almost died.
Ron's almost
Both.
gotten him killed.
Both.
Twice. Well, that was a gift from Ron.
Now we're starting to wonder insurance scam.
Ron might be trying. Ron might
Is he
be
in your will?
trying to kill me. It seems possible. He welcomed his son into our life yesterday.
To finish the job.
How did everyone feel about that? How did everyone feel about Sean McGill's run through here?
A bit yappy, if you ask me.
Oh, so loud. Does not shut up.
Won't stop talking, that guy, Sean McGill.
Maybe Ron wrote the notes that made Dan make the mistake at the Vegas show, too. That almost caused him to die of shame. Wow. Third attempt at his life.
Just spitballing here for potential Dan moments. There was the time he made this noise.
Her profile at the company and her voice.
I don't think that makes it cut.
No, that doesn't.
Sounded like a baseball being hit.
Her profile at the company and her voice.
A deep shot to left field.
Her profile at the company and her voice.
It sounds like a rocket, man. That ball was hit 400 feet.
Her profile at the company and her voice.
That ball was pulled.
Got some bat speed on that.
Hot shot, hit foul.
Gary Sheffield did that. Like that's. You got that as a foul ball into the dugout. That's a screaming.
And that's a home run from Castellanos.
How did you make that sound?
Folks, I'm not sure I'm ever going to put on these headsets again. Howdy, folks. It's Mike Ryan. I talk to you about Miller Time all the time, but we're in the wintertime right now, and one of my favorite pastimes is to crack open a Miller Lite and enjoy myself some Miller Time during the wintertime, because when there's a brisk chill in the air, it just makes everything right. My friends and I who live down here in South Florida can actually sit outside because it's not super muggy. We can thoroughly enjoy our Miller Time together. And for you listening, I know there's a lot of things going on right now. Sports, chief among them. Nothing more important than sports. From basketball and hockey to game night, winter means more moments with the coolest people in your life. Make these moments even better with Miller Lite, the great tasting light beer for people who love beer. Now's the perfect time for friends, family, and a great tasting light beer. Taste like Miller Time. And you know Miller Lite is brewed for taste. It hits different than other light beers, and at just 96 calories and 3.2 grams of carbs per 12 ounces, Miller Time is always a good time. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Tastes like Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. If you're a small business owner, you know how difficult it can be hiring the right people. And it can be a real grind. It takes the right partner to make sure you're getting the most qualified candidates. Well, got the right partner for you. LinkedIn Jobs. When you clock out, LinkedIn clocks in. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free, share it with your network, and get qualified candidates that you can manage all in one place. Meadowlark Media continues to grow as a content studio, and we strive to hire only the best and most qualified candidates. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, they've made it easy for us to find them. So, if you're a small business owner looking for the perfect hire, LinkedIn has you covered. With LinkedIn's new job posting feature, you can write job descriptions effortlessly and get your job in front of the right people using deep candidate insights. Quality matters. Based on LinkedIn data, 72% of small businesses using LinkedIn say it helps them find top talent. Join over 2.5 million small businesses using LinkedIn for hiring today. Find your next great hire only on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/DLS. That's linkedin.com/DLS to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.